So anyway, then we come to the segment that everybody wanted me to talk about. Dan Lambert. They let him get in the ring this time. Him and Scorpio Sky and the other Page. They didn't have to sit in the Waldorf and Statler box. They were in the ring. And now his task, his job, is to make the people cheer for Cody. Figuring if they run the closest thing they have to Attila the Hun out to the ring and let him talk, that the people will cheer Cody. So he was knocking Cody and his entourage. And did you notice, by the way, that he was slowed down? He was taking his time more. He had a little more inflection to things, a little more emphasis on his points. He wasn't just reciting like the Federal Express man. Maybe Dan's listening.
He also seemed tired. This whole thing seemed tired. This whole thing was tired.
I did like that he said that Brandi is the first Brandi he ever knew that's not a stripper. But anyway, he's doing the interview, taking the piss out of Cody and all Cody's people, and here comes Brandi. But not just Brandi, it's now Hacksaw Butch Brandi again. The same Brandi, she brings it out once a year. The first time was with old Jane Cargill, and now Hacksaw Butch Brandi is back again.
Same line, too. Same opening line.
Yes. Is this open mic night? And, well, if you do something right once in your life, the next time you're asked to do it, you generally do that same thing again. But anyway, she comes out with a microphone. She talks to the ring, knocking Dan Lambert, and gets in the ring. And before I say what she said, we're expected to believe that these three grown men hate her husband and her whole group, and she just walks right out there, a 125-pound woman, I guess after her pregnancy. She's back to her normal weight, and gets in the ring and is going to tell all of them what she thinks of them, tell all of them off, and is not scared in any way. Doesn't that tell you automatically, well, this is obviously fake? But anyway, nevertheless, but hey, Brandi's tougher than Road Warrior Hawk. So she gets in the ring and she tells Lambert, "You're like a less talented version of Paul Heyman." And the people go, ooh, like, oh, she got him with a burn. And whatever the fuck. And then he says, well, I prefer Jim Cornette. And instead of the ooh burn, it was like, oh my God, it's like complete disgust just emitted from the people. How dare you mention that name? It's like saying Beetlejuice 3 times or whatever the fuck. So anyway, Brandi Runnels, who's gotten in the ring with these 3 men that don't like her or her husband, now offers to whip Dan Lambert's ass for free and starts taking off her fucking earrings and shit, and like they're gonna fight. And I'm sorry, but even though Dan Lambert is almost my age, he's still a grown adult man who actually owns a fucking mixed martial arts academy. So we were is she aware that people think for this very reason that she's complete poison to television when she is expecting people to believe that she's going to fight this fucking guy? It's not me and Baby Doll from 30 years ago where I'm a goddamn wimp and she's actually at that time an inch taller and fucking 15 pounds heavier than me and the women's shot put champion at Lubbock High School. It's Brandi. But they're going to fight. And now the people are trying to be forced to pick between the 2 most unlikable people in AEW. And Brandi said, if she said, you're a black belt, well, I'm a black bitch, so let's go. So why has it always got to be about race? But anyway, this woman's ego is out of control, and here comes Dustin in, and Dustin's going to get between and try to calm Brandi down. And the other Page comes and blindsides Dustin from behind. And the best part of the segment was the bump that Dustin took off of that. And then the heels just left. And there you go. So that was just a way to get Brandi on television, basically. I know you were looking for Jane anytime.
That was one of the worst segments I've ever seen on a wrestling show. But let's take a step back. This Dan Lambert thing has been one of the worst things that Tony Khan has insisted on having on his show, because it's his thing. It's his baby. It's terrible. And at least there was some life to it early on. Nobody cares.
Well, Jericho beat him into powder in the first 3 weeks, and then it was over. And remember, I said it was over then, and it's been over ever since.
And no one wanted to see him and his team then. And at least then he had some big stars in mixed martial arts. I'm never going to take away what you think about Ethan Page and why. My philosophy is it's Impact. That's less wrestling than it is some foreign country producing a show that I never see. So I'm going to pretend like he's a fresh wrestler I've never seen before. He's got a look. He's got size. He looks like the kind of heel you'd want to hit, but may be able to hit you back. So I understand what you think about him. And I'm never going to tell you don't think that. I see him a little differently. And I see him as someone they could do something with. On the other hand, Scorpio Sky, who is hamming it up to the point where nothing seems genuine. It all seems like a clown show. In case anyone hasn't noticed, nobody cares about Scorpio Sky. This guy was one of their first tag team champions. Nobody gives a shit about Scorpio Sky, and now he's acting like a clown. He is their version of Lance Storm.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm serious. And I'm not even saying that as an insult. As a guy, you put him in a match on the show, he'll be in shape, he'll be able to do all the basics, maybe even some flashy stuff. The guys who work with him will like working with him, but people don't want to see him and don't give a shit and won't pay to see him. And I think that's what Scorpio Sky. So I think that takes the Dan Lambert stuff down, even if you like the Dan Lambert stuff. And that certainly takes Ethan Page. By the way, has anyone noticed that Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky have no chemistry together whatsoever? One's on one side acting like a child, and the other one's acting like a brooding heel that could fight you. It's ridiculous. And Lambert's entire act and all the material is just lame at this point. And like you said, they're going to try to use him now for the Cody thing. And the Cody thing is getting tiresome too. So Brandi comes out. He says all this awful shit about the Rhodes family. Brandi comes out. Not Cody. Brandi, who gets in the ring. And again, like you said, this woman, fucking Stephanie McMahon light, gets in the ring and is going to fight all the heels. She's going to take off her coat and fight the heels. And then Dustin has to come, not even Cody again. Dustin, her brother-in-law, has to come out. Is Cody in the back with Red Velvet? If we're going to go based on what's happening in storyline in the last year and a half. Where's her husband? This whole thing was so stupid. Brandi coming out and right away doing the same line she did a year ago for the only segment she's ever been in that anyone has ever liked, right away set this off as being stupid. This whole show felt like AEW from a year and a half ago. And that includes the way the Rhodes family is used and the tone deaf way they're being used. It's ridiculous. And I'm so negative on AEW coming out of this episode. This was one of the worst episodes of their show they've ever had because I've been on such a good run of liking their stuff. And this segment and the prospects of Cody working with either Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky with Dan Lambert, none of this is appealing in any way.
But let me hold on here one second. Scorpio Sky. He was one of the first tag team champions. He was a babyface. Him and Kazarian, right? And Daniels. They were SCU. And even though they had the silly mic stands and the catchphrase and all the whatever the fuck, Scorpio Sky was in shape. He could work. He was a very good athlete, did the flying stuff, but it didn't look like kids' gymnastics on the trampoline. You could have used him in such a way that people now wouldn't just be scoffing at the look of him. Now he, like you said, he's hanging out with Lambert and Page, and they're wearing the weird clothes. And when's the last time any of them that they ever wrestled? When's the last time you saw Scorpio Sky wrestle? People have forgotten that he's a good athlete. But but he doesn't have an over-the-top heel personality or any kind of over-the-top personality. As a babyface, if he had been branched off from the tag team and made a single babyface and had a run where he was established and used well, then you could do a variety of things maybe with him today and people would care. But they broke Daniels retired, then they broke their team up. Then for some reason, he and Page just started hanging out in the fucking bleachers in a morose fashion, and now they've been thrown in with Lambert simply because they supposedly trained in mixed martial arts. Well, goddamn, I read a book on dentistry one time, but I'm not going to fucking take over Britt Baker's practice.
And Lambert says nothing about them. I mean, the whole thing that Lambert does, it's all about him. It's all about him. And I mean, the Tony Khan man line is fucking tired now. It's all tired. But it's all about Lambert, and then it's just Guy on one side acting like a child trying to get some camera time. Steve McQueen, he's not. And on the other side, you got Paige, and it's like these three people, none of them have anything to do with the person next to them. It's so bad. And you know what? Maybe this segment wouldn't have been as bad if it was on a show that wasn't surrounded by complete shit, but this entire show from top to bottom was garbage.